Hello, Bonner Springs High School. My name is Rick Mullen. I'm the principal at Bonner Springs High School, and I'm excited to share some information with you today about the start of the school year. Our theme for the year is flexibility. I understand there's a lot of stress and anxiety with the start of the school year and wondering what things will look. I hope to be able to answer some of those questions today and to be able to give you some confidence that we're going to do whatever it takes to help your son or daughter be successful. At Bonner Springs High School, we've worked really hard the last several years to build what we call a student-centered approach. We are here for one reason, because of our students. And so as we navigate through this challenging school year, we will keep that at our forefront. Our teachers have been working really hard the past few weeks to develop dynamic lessons to help your sons and daughters be successful. We are here for kids, and we will do whatever it takes to help your child be successful. So our leadership team met several weeks ago, and we know that some of the adversity that we're facing as educators, that you're facing as a parent, and that some of the challenges our kids are going through with COVID-19 and the Wyandotte County Health Department order, the restrictions that we're under. And we reviewed all that information with our leadership team, and then we sat down and we developed goals for the year. Here are the goals that our leadership team came up with. The first and foremost, we're going to create a safe environment. So when your students do come to school, they're going to be safe. Secondly, we want to focus on building relationships with students. Students are our number one priority. And again, that's the reason I have a job, and that's the reason all of our teachers have a job, is because our kids need us. We're going to focus on building relationships amongst our faculty and staff. We understand that if we work together as a team, it benefits your child. We're going to be a positive role model for your students. We're going to have support structures in place so that students know that they're going to be supported and they're going to trust us through this situation. We're going to maintain community. We've worked really hard the past several years to build a dynamic culture at our school. That will not change because of this pandemic. Our teachers are going to be thinking outside the box. We're going to be flexible. We're going to meet students where they are. And also, we understand, all of us as educators, we have strengths, we have challenges. We're going to work together to maximize our strengths and to diminish our struggles. We're going to focus on the social and emotional needs of all students and staff so that we can be successful. And then finally, we understand that we're going to be our best resources. And as parents, students, and teachers, we're going to work together to best meet the needs of our students. Those are the goals. And we had several representatives from our school, from different departments, different teachers, different counselors, and this is our goal for this school year. Our success over the past several years has been because of this factor. We've collectively decided that it's not only about the curriculum at Bonner Springs High School, it's about relationships. So we're going to focus on not only providing an outstanding educational experience for your sons and daughters, but we're going to focus on building lifelong relationships, positive role models. When your son or daughter walks across the Bonner Springs High School graduation stage, I want them to reflect on their high school experience, be proud of the school they went to, and be proud of the relationships they built along the way. It's about the pronoun. We are a team. And parents have always been an important part of the success of our school. This year, we need you more than ever. We have to work together to best meet the needs of all of our kids. Tuesday, September 8th will be our first day of school, and I want to give you a breakdown of how that looks. Some of you have chosen the hybrid learning option, which means you're in person and you have homeroom. Others have chosen the remote option. I'm going to try to summarize what day one looks like for all of those students. So on day one, which is Tuesday, September 8th, if you're on Team Black, you will report to your homeroom that day. If you're on Team Orange, you will be working from home and you'll log into each Google Classroom. Remote learners, you will also log into each Google Classroom that day. All students, whether you're on Team Black, Team Orange, or you're a remote learner, you have 2 afternoon focus sessions on that Tuesday. At 12:30, you will log into your 5th hour Google Classroom, and at 1:45, your 7th hour classroom. I want to give you a quick overview of the schedule, and we've talked about this before, but I think there is still a little confusion about how this works. our teachers are available to work with students Monday through Friday from 7:30 to 3:05. They are working in our building. And while we have some structured times in place, there's also opportunities for students to work, or excuse me, for teachers to work with students in small groups, in whole classes, and different things like that. So here is what the schedule looks like right now. So if you look on this schedule, these are for our hybrid students. Team Orange is on the top, Team Black is on the bottom. And so for Team Orange, you're in person with your homeroom teacher on Monday and Wednesday. The afternoon sessions that are highlighted are times that you're also working directly with teachers. For Team Black, it's the opposite. You're here Tuesday and Thursday, and you can see when you're working directly with teachers as well. As before mentioned, teachers are going to have midweek check-ins during this process as well, and several other opportunities to connect. But these are the structured times that we currently have set. So since the first day of school is on a Tuesday, those students will come. The students on Team Orange will be working from home, as before mentioned. I'm going to share this document with you in a separate email so that you can refer to it later. We also have a Friday schedule, and these are recommended times for students to check into each Google Classroom. Our teachers may also require whole class or small group meetings at this time as well. So you can see what the Friday schedule looks like. Now, if you're a remote learner, I'm going to share separate information with you as well, but you're going to be attending all of these afternoon sessions as well, and teachers are still available during other times of the days to work with you both individually and in small groups. So once again, this document will be shared with you again at a later date. The first week of school, this is our goal. We want to make connections with our kids. We want to learn about your sons and daughters, who they are. We want to ensure they know how to use technology. And as previously mentioned, we're going to focus on relationships and making sure everybody is where they need to be. Then on the week of September 14th, we'll begin more heavily focusing on the academic side of things. Every classroom is going to focus on these 4 things through our learning plans for the year. We're going to make sure that kids have the opportunities to collaborate. In other words, just because you're online doesn't mean you can't work with others. So students will have an opportunity to collaborate with classmates and with others. We're going to work with kids and focus on critical thinking. We're going to allow kids to be creative, and we're going to focus on communication skills because we know all 4 of those areas are important no matter what your son or daughter's post-secondary plans are. This is not fourth quarter, and it's not a traditional school year. Fourth quarter, we were in an emergency response mode. It's still an emergency. We're still working through the virus. However, our teachers have had more time to plan. We're going to be proactive, and we're going to find ways to engage with your sons and daughters. More about that later. We also understand it's not a traditional school year, so we're not going to try to replicate a traditional school model through this process as well, because that's not realistic for our teachers, and it's also not realistic for your kids. I will emphasize grades in schools matter, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later, but I've got some tips that I'm going to share today on how your sons and daughters can be successful, not only with their grades, but in school, with school in general. Here's what our students are telling us. I sent a survey a couple of weeks ago to our sophomores, juniors, and seniors, and I asked a series of questions. The first one is, during fourth quarter, what areas were most difficult? The number one thing our kids told us was not being face-to-face with their teacher. 65.7% said that was an issue. 55.6% said not being able to interact with their classmates, and 49.1% said it was lack of structure. We're going to address each of these areas in both our hybrid and our remote learning plans. In a hybrid schedule, what can we do as a staff to be most helpful? Our kids told us that we need to provide lessons that make connections with things they're interested in. So our teachers are committed to figuring out ways to connect with your sons and daughters' interests as they deliver their curriculum. The personal factors affecting our students. 62.5% said they struggle with time management. 52.1% said they struggle with mental health and anxiety. We're going to have some time management strategies that we're going to share with students. In addition, we're going to have Google Classrooms that are specific to each grade level that will have some social emotional resources available for all of our kids. Current world issues that are impacting students personally. And this is information for parents. We know that our kids have not been with us in person or since March. And this year is still going to look even more different. But the political tensions in our country, 54.9% of our kids said that was something they were struggling with. 54.2% said they were struggling with COVID-19 diagnosis or fears, and 48.2% said they were struggling with the racial tensions in our country. So we're going to be working with kids not only on academics, but on ways to self-reflect and ways to create an environment of respect and acceptance at our school so that all students continue to feel valued and supported. How does attendance work? If you chose hybrid, that means you have homeroom. You will have a daily attendance check through homeroom, even on the days that your son or daughters are not in person. And our homeroom teachers will be sharing that information later. So you will check in daily with your homeroom teacher. Once again, if you're on Team Black, you will check in with your homeroom teachers. If you're on Team Black, you will be teaching or checking in with your homeroom teachers in person on Tuesday and Thursday, and from home on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you're on Team Orange, you will check in person with your homeroom teachers on Monday and Wednesday, and then from home on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. We will also do attendance through our afternoon focus. Our homeroom teachers will be sharing information about how the attendance will work on the days students are working from home once we get started next week. If you're remote, you'll fill out a daily learning log documenting that you worked for 6 hours that day, and then you will also attend that afternoon focus and any other sessions that our teachers require. Once again, we're going to share this information specifically with our remote students early next week. Breakfast and lunch will be provided to all students, and we're still working out the details on that, so please stay tuned. I do want to let you know that's on our radar, and we're working out the details on how breakfast and lunch work. In general, all students will receive a free breakfast, and lunch for those who are attending in person will be grab and go, but we're also trying to work out ways for students to get access to lunch on the days that they're not at school. So stay tuned for that. How are students going to enter the building? We've worked really hard to create a plan on how this will work. So if your son or daughter is a bus rider, they will have their temperature taken prior to getting on the school bus. Then they will be dropped off at the west end of the high school building, which is the back entrance. Car riders and drivers will enter through the front of the building like normal, and they will have their temperature taken upon arrival. And so that's the different format. If your student's homeroom is in the B-Tech, they will report to the B-Tech for their homeroom. They'll also have their temperature taken there. I wanted to put together some tips for student success. This is what we found during fourth quarter that some of our students struggled with, and some of the things we struggled with as a faculty and staff. The first thing I would tell you is students need to check their email at least twice per day, once in the morning and once at the end of the day. We share a lot of important information through email, and sometimes that was getting lost in the shuffle, so please have your student check his or her email twice per day. Log into Skyward at least once per week to check on your students' grades. That will keep you up to date on how your student is doing in school, and also it can allow us to be proactive before things get too out of control. Create a structured student for your schedule. I do want to share with you, we're going to have this available for all kids. This is going to be in the shared Google Classroom. And if you look in this column right here, this is a sample schedule of what a student's day would look like on a Monday when they're not in school. So if you're on Team Black, we would like you to sit down with your son and daughter and structure their day. Our kids told us that they need help with structure, and we're going to provide some of that through homeroom and seminar, but also at home. If you could work with your kid on creating some kind of structure, that would be helpful as we navigate through this. So in this particular case, the student is going to eat breakfast from 7:40 to 8 o'clock and do their morning chores. Then they're going to work on their career and life planning class. At 8:45, they're going to start working on U.S. history, and so on and so forth. So sit down with your son and daughter, look at their schedule, and help them create some kind of format for how their day will look when they're not in school. As before mentioned, we're going to have grade level specific Google Classrooms. And in those classrooms, we're going to have ACT prep material, social and emotional resources, and other grade level specific information. So for example, in our senior Google Classroom, we're going to have specific information about scholarships and other things that are important to seniors. So please make sure your son or daughter enrolls in our Google Classroom. I encourage our kids to get involved. Just because we're online does not have to mean we are alone. We still have plenty of activities and clubs available. They will look different this year. Many of our clubs will function virtually, but we still want your kid to be involved. So please pick a sport, pick a club, pick an activity, find some way for your son or daughter to stay connected to the school. What can you do to help as a parent? The first thing is I ask you to have pride in our school. I would put Bonner Springs High School up against any school anywhere, and it's for 3 reasons. Number one, we've got outstanding kids. I'm proud of our kids. There's no other student I would rather work with than the students at Bonner Springs High School. The second thing is we have an outstanding faculty and staff. And third, our community support, our parents, our Board of Education, second to none. So be proud and look for the positive in our students in school, and you'll find them. If you're looking for reasons for this not to be successful, you're going to find them, because there is not a perfect plan through this pandemic. What we've attempted to do was put together the best plan possible to maximize our ability for our kids to be successful. So be proud. The second thing, contact us if you have questions or concerns. Please give us an opportunity to fix problems before you take them to social media. This is your son or daughter's school, and we want you to be proud of it. And if we're working against each other by going to social media prior to giving the school a chance to fix things or to work through things, it's counterproductive to what we're trying to accomplish. Help your students structure their day. We talked about the schedule earlier, but if you could help your son or daughter structure their day, that will be really helpful. Encourage them to be successful. And I know that sounds basic, but oftentimes when kids get a little bit older, we think that we want to back away from them a little bit, and that's perfectly normal. However, kids still need to be encouraged to have success. Encourage your son or daughter to read. Reading is important. Find something they enjoy and allow them to read. Speak to them about school. Now more than ever, it's important that we have conversations about what's going on in classrooms and at school. Monitor and limit social media access. Social media is one of those things that can really divide students, families, and schools. And so it's important that you watch what your kids are doing on social media and limit their exposure. If your son or daughter's not feeling well, please keep them home. Our teachers and staff will do the same as far as if we're not feeling well. So it's important during this time that we follow that. And then check your email and social media for school news and information so that you can stay up to date. I do want to tell you, I'm very proud of our school. We have dual credit programs through both KCK Community College and Mid-American Nazarene. And currently we offer 13 courses during the school day for up to 51 credit hours. Many of our juniors and seniors are enrolled in these programs as we speak for this school year. If you are a freshman and sophomore, I am telling you about this because this is how important it is that you have a successful year so that you have these opportunities as well when you're a junior and senior. In addition, we have several career pathways. And so we want to make sure that our kids that are involved in technical education have all the opportunities available to be successful. In fact, we have a partnership with KCK Community College and their technical school where some of our seniors go there to get licensures and programs. We offer a CNA program at our school. 19 or 20 kids last year got their CNA prior to graduating from high school. We have a food service program where we offer different certifications and things of that nature. So we're very proud of the programs that we offer. at our school. A lot of people ask me, how do you deal with student discipline and what are your expectations with kids? And it's real simple. I told you before, we're here for kids. Kids are going to make mistakes. We try to encourage our kids to make new mistakes. In other words, if you make a mistake, don't repeat that mistake over and over again. Find a new mistake. But in general, when students do make mistakes, we focus on the behavior and it's not personal. Behavior we understand is oftentimes a form of communication. So our teachers are constantly communicating with kids, trying to figure out what's going on, and we try to be proactive so that situations that are small or minor don't become big. It's a new day. If a kid makes a mistake, the following day we're going to welcome them back to the classrooms with open arms, and it's a fresh start. And our goal is prevention. So we have a lot of measures in place to hopefully prevent problems from happening. We want to provide a safe school for our kids, and our discipline and student expectations focus on helping kids learn from mistakes that they make. I will tell you that the goal of negative people are 3 reasons. And so when our kids, and this is what we work with our kids on, if you have kids, other students trying to lead you down the wrong path, understand that the goal of that person is one of 3 things. They're trying to divide us as a school or as a family or as a community. They're trying to distract you from being successful, or they're trying to discourage you. So we encourage our kids to think about who are you going to follow and how are you going to respond, because every great leader is also a great follower. You got to follow the right people. And so that's some information that we're going to be sharing with our kids as well. Relationships matter. Now more than ever, it's important that if you need anything from the school, please reach out and we're going to do the same with you. It's important that we have a partnership. I can't stress that enough. Be patient with us. Our teachers are working really hard to try to create dynamic lessons and ways to interact with your kids, ways to help your sons and daughters be successful. And I'll be honest with you, it's not easy. No one asked for this. You didn't ask to be in this situation. Neither did our kids, neither did our teachers. But our goal is to make the best of a difficult situation. And so have patience with us, and in turn, we will have patience with your sons and daughters as we navigate through this process. Finally, it's always a great day to be brave, and there's no school I'd rather represent than Bonner Springs High School. Thank you for allowing us to work with your sons and daughters, and I'm looking forward to a great year. Once again, I will share that other document with you later on today. Thank you.